power, everybody. I was led to cancel, clear, and delete any lower vibratory forces that may try to invade this space upon this transmission. If you ain't got some hydration near you, get you some. Stay hydrated is very important. Ra, the sun, Jesus, Zeus, Helios, whatever you know that planet as, it's not playing with us. You know, it's dishing out what it dishes out. You know, heat and humidity. So stay hydrated. Stillness in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. To each and all who come across this transmission, this message, these thoughts, these concepts, these ideas, these perceptions. I hope everybody's feeling good for no reason at all. From my higher self to your higher self, from my ancestors to yours, love, light, health, and wholeness. To the collective that we know as humanity, love, light, health, and wholeness. May we all find ourselves being able to feel good for no reason at all. If it ain't concerned about one thing. There's always some shadow work to be done. There's always some shadow work to be done. How many of us familiar with the scripture that God will prepare a table in the presence of our enemies? I'm familiar with that. I came up in a Christian background. So I'm familiar with that. But it don't mean, I didn't know what it meant, honestly, when I was younger. But when we constantly hear things in different phases of how we're growing up and where we're growing up at, things that we hear early on take a different shape and form and comprehension and meaning later on. So I realized, for me, my true enemy is not outside myself. The true enemy exists within myself. And when I look at myself, I get to see everything that's on my plate. So for your table to be prepared in the presence of your enemy, because we really don't have one outside. We give ourselves ops. We make ops for ourselves. We place ourselves in opposition. Somebody will catch it. In order to stay out the places or those spaces, all you gotta do is keep your eye on your plate. Just keep your eye on your plate. I appreciate every last one of y'all. I hope that same energy is reciprocated. If not, it's neither here nor there. I appreciate every last one of y'all. Somebody will catch it, because there's power in what I'm saying. And as I started, it's always some shadow work to do. I work on myself each and every day, very intensely. And if you know me personally, you know that of me. If not, it'll probably just sound like I'm running my mouth, or I'm capping, as we say. But it ain't no cap about it. It's in my frequency as well. We're closing old cycles so we can begin new ones. So it's always some shadow work to do. It's always something that we can do to self-improve. It's always something that we can do to self-correct. It's always something we can do to self-adjust. It's always something that we can do to self-reset. It's always something that we can do. It sounds like it don't really leave a lot of time to relax and rest, huh? Because it's always something to do. But that don't mean it ain't time to relax and rest, you know, cause rest and relaxation is a part of the growth process. So you can't neglect, we can't neglect or leave rest or relaxation out the equation, because we got to close out old cycles for new ones to come in. Can't bring no old mess into a new situation without the old mess corrupting the new situation. We don't heard the term one apple spoil a whole bunch, because it's further in the aging process. So only thing it can do once it's fully ripened is to start deteriorating in reverse. So in that process, it corrupts everything else, the rest of the fruit that's around it. So you got to take it out to preserve and extend the life of the other fruit. How many of you, like myself, have accepted that you don't fit in? How many of you have accepted that you don't fit in? Wherever you had to accept that at, because all of us don't fit in the same places. You know, we may share common ground with not fitting in different areas, in different spaces, in different places in our lives. But how many of us have just come to the acceptance that you don't fit in? That you never belonged? How many of you have come to that equation that you don't fit in and you never belong? I have, in many areas of my life. And what I didn't realize then that I realize now is that it was needed to shape me in many areas of my life. Somebody will catch you. But my point in bringing that up is, if you ever felt like that, it's because you don't. A lot of us don't. And a lot of times we cause ourselves a hardship and disappointment in trying to make ourselves fit in places that we didn't belong. You know, and those lessons became life experiences for us, became wisdom. So my question is, how many of you in the acceptance are okay with that? Because I see that struggle. I see that struggle going on in different people in the collective. We got to the point where we can accept that we don't fit in, we're unique, we're different in the ways that we're different, and that we never belong in places that we have tried to make ourselves fit. But many of us still haven't become okay with what we have accepted. So it causes hang-ups in where we at in our life path at present. So I say this, if you're going through ascension, if we're going through ascension, things must fall out of our lives. If we're going through ascension, expect things to fall out your life. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, and don't ask me when. I've been paying attention. Season after season, cycle after cycle, experience after experience, moment after moment, to realize whenever we're growing, something has to fall off. Something has to get cut. It was only important while it was important for the lesson that was being learned at present. Once it's learned, you can't take the memories with you, but you can't take the things that you have already learned with you again unless you want to go through the same lesson again. I'm not trying to repeat the same cycles in my space of newness. So we're going to have to expect things to fall off. We may find ourselves falling out with people. Whatever the case may be, don't worry about it. Don't take it personal. Don't get caught up in what we have to grow through and what we grow through. Don't get caught up. If you could believe it, if you could leave it behind and trust the process, it'll CELLEVATE. Me, that's 2 words, CELLEVATE, that I made one. It'll elevate your cells. Because we are cellular beings, first and foremost. We experience life from within outward. Okay, none of us see our organs, but we know as long as our organs working properly, we can experience life through the shell of a body. All that low vibe stuff, all our low vibe activities, we gotta leave it behind, family. We gotta, if we're gonna CELLEVATE, we're gonna elevate through this cell work, through this self-work, self-work, then it's a lot we're gonna have to leave behind. You know, I've had immaturities just like anybody else, so I don't sit here speaking like I'm above and beyond anyone or anything. The life lessons that I speak about, I only speak about them because I've had to experience them. If I'm not experiencing something that I may or may not be speaking about at any given point in time, at any moment. Everything is from self-revelation. Trust your process. And know, because it ain't easy, I know this, but know that it's okay to leave people, places, and things behind that no longer circumvent or allow circulation for your highest growth, for your highest purpose. The hardest part of the heart is how hard our part is. And everybody don't play the same part, but we all players on this stage of life. But the hardest part is going to be how hard your part is. If we stand for something, we won't fall for anything. If we stand for something, we won't fall for anything. But what does that mean? Because it ain't going to mean the same thing to everybody. If we stand for something, we won't fall for anything. Well, all of us don't fail. All of us is a part of the fall. You know. So hopefully, and what life has allowed us to experience, it has given us something to stand for in our present. Knowing what we know and knowing what we believe is not the same thing. Those are 2 different things. And I would like to say that again. Knowing what you know and knowing what you believe is 2 different things. If I know something because I know something, and then I know something because I believe something, it's not the same thing. Is it connected? I'll be fair to say yes, but it's not the same thing. It's something that we have to be able to realize when we realize it. Today, this day, Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thursday. Today. It's a gift. This day is a gift. And we could always find something to be more grateful for. I myself probably don't exercise gratitude the way that I should. Especially being that I'm sincerely grateful for so many things. You know, just being able to light a match so I could put fire to this sage and keep an essence flowing things like that we take so little. We take for granted. We take for granted. You know, gratitude. We need to exercise it more, man. We need to really pay attention, look around us, listen, feel all we don't be grateful for, and maybe that we should. I'm grateful for the 4 elements, because without the air, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't use this body. Without water, I couldn't stay hydrated. Without earth, I wouldn't have this form that we know as a body to begin with. And without fire, I couldn't know my temperature, if I'm healthy or if I'm getting sick. Just little things like that. Today is a gift. And to know that is is an even greater gift, because we take it so for granted. And everybody didn't make it today. I know people might not like to hear me say that, but it's just the facts, it's just the reality. You know, everybody didn't make it today. So if you made it today, man, you better find something to be grateful for. You know, keep feeding always feed your life force. You know. Just because we all God. I was having this conversation, so I want to share this with y'all. Just because we all God. And that may mean something that's different to everybody, and it will. And some people won't accept that at all, according to their belief structures. But just because we all God, don't mean that we all good spirits. I don't think nothing show us better than. I don't think nothing proves that than what we witness and see every day, whether we're seeing it in our neighborhoods or we're seeing it on the news. Just because we God don't mean that we all good spirits. You know, or God can be a positive or a negative force. Somebody will catch it. So what do you expect from the highest aspect of your being? Is what you're going to bring forth through your everyday activities. And for some of us, the highest force of our being may be a lower vibratory force or frequency that using operators. Everybody not here for good, and everybody not here for bad. But we get to experience a little bit of it all, yin and yang, light and dark, good and, you know, whatever you want to call it. But it's always some shadow work to do. I very much dislike asking people how their day going and hearing different days saying shit. I find a real issue with that. It's not my problem to have a problem with, but I find an issue with that when I hear that type of response, because it says a lot of things. It shows me a lot of things about whoever may have said it. You know, we should never be in an attitude where we're saying out our mouth, same day, different shit. I hope somebody gets caught. We should never be in a frame of mind where we're saying same day, different shit. That mean you ain't growing. That mean there ain't no changes. That mean there ain't no elevation. And I started out saying it's always some shadow work to do. Yo, I want to salute those who put in the hard work that only you can on yourself. The hard work that you put into yourself, it means a lot. It means a lot to me if it don't mean a lot to you. Because a lot of times, it's either we overestimate ourselves or we underestimate ourselves. It's either we're giving ourselves too much credit or we ain't giving ourselves enough credit at all. But I want y'all to know that the hard work that you do on yourself, for those who are doing this work, it means a lot. Responsibility and accountability goes hand in hand with discipline and development, to the point that I want to share this. When we are aware of something and we don't make the necessary changes, necessary adjustments, necessary corrections, necessary resets, the consequences don't hear complaints. I'm aware that we all don't have the same battles or have shared the same experiences, per se. I'm aware that we all have been through a lot. Yeah, we all don't put others through a lot. And vice versa. Unintentional and intentional. Most won't admit it, but it's facts. Or most won't admit it about oneself, but quick to admit it about others. Neither here nor there. I'm just presenting the facts. I said all that to say, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Today is a gift. Everybody ain't making it. Last but not least, we gotta stop expecting people to understand our process. You're going through certain phases of your healing process. Don't expect everybody to understand it. They're not supposed to. You can't even expect everybody you know to want to listen to it. They're not supposed to. Everybody busy. Wherever they at in the hamster wheel, for those of us still in the hamster wheel, because there's always some shadow work to do. But it's not meant for everybody to understand where we at in every phase of the journey. If they don't, they're not supposed to. Just recognize that. It only means it's for you. It's for you. When you find yourself trying to explain things to people that don't understand it, it's not for them. It's only for you. Just recognize that and keep it moving. You know, growing pains are meant for growing gains. I'll say it again. Growing pains are meant for growing gains. Growing pains are meant for growing gains. We all don't have them. So we all should be seeing growth through and from what we have already experienced. Peace and power to the family. Love and light. Stillness and abundance. Health and wholeness. And if you do nothing else, be strong-willed in weak moments. Saiwoo Da God. I love y'all. Peace.